Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvish. A new one. Hinduism has an innate form of AI. This is from the July Pub Desk, Hinduism Today, 2025. It's new. Over the past 2 years, there has been a remarkable surge of interest in the field of artificial intelligence, AI. And evolutionary development is the emergence of generative AI, specifically large language models, exemplified by popular platforms like ChatGPT. These systems have the ability to provide answers to questions in a human-like way at remarkable speed. Toward the end of 2024, Apple came out with its own AI model called Apple Intelligence. That gave me the idea that Hinduism has its own unique form of AI. What do you think that might be? I call it Adyatma Intelligence. Adyatma Intelligence. The Sanskrit word Adyatma means spiritual, so Adyatma Intelligence or spiritual intelligence refers to knowledge that comes from the soul. And the question to you, what are some common terms used for knowledge that comes from the soul? Such knowledge is commonly referred to as intuition, superconsciousness, inner voice, insight, and foreknowledge. Foreknowledge meaning knowledge of the future. Sanskrit term for intuition is anubhava bodha, which means knowledge from inner experience. This is distinct from the intellectual knowledge acquired by studying books, for which the Sanskrit term is buddhiyana. Gurudeva gave this description of intuition. The first sadhana, therefore, is to always hold the overview and cling in your memory to the intuitive flashes that come as a result of your practices. These intuitive flashes come from deep within and are the only thing that should be remembered. For this is your jnana, your insightfulness, your own wisdom breaking through. We hear the common phrase, awaken your intuition, implying that it is not currently functioning. Gurudeva presented another perspective. Intuition day by day occurs spasmodically, but it does occur. And systematically one can gear his observation of his own intuitional faculties and find out exactly when these intuitive functions occur within him. It is a well-defined fact that we have the faculty of precognition of coming events. It is also concurrently known that feelings of fear may precede impending danger. It is for the individual to disentangle and sort out within his own daily experiential pattern which is which. In this way, he becomes knowledgeable in the great university of his own mind as to what is a daily intuitive occurrence and what is not. Imagine soft music played in a noisy room. The music is there, but we can hardly hear it because of the noise. It is the same in our mind because of the mental noise of constant thoughts and feelings which prevent us from hearing our quiet inner voice. But sometimes our inner voice is louder than the mental noise, such as when facing danger. Imagine a child playing outside, is about to be hurt. From inside the house, the mother senses the danger and runs to protect her child, arriving just in time. And another question to you: how can you distinguish genuine intuition from random thought? What guideline does Gurudeva give us? Gurudeva says it is important to distinguish genuine intuition from random thought. Desires come through feeling, warmth of emotion, as do thoughts, schemes, ways of manipulating the media forces for one's own personal benefit or that of a loved one. This is contrary to the power of intuition, which runs cold and is direct, like a bolt of lightning in the inner sky, or the subtle rainbow of the etheric aura, which bypasses the processes of current thinking, giving answers before the question and solving problems before they have accrued. A key practice enabling us to regularly experience intuition is to observe how our thinking mind functions. This requires that we practice meditation regularly over a long period of time. When attempting to meditate, our thoughts tend to quickly go to past events and future plans. We must gradually control this pattern through our meditation practices. In fact, that is the definition of yoga that Patanjali gives in verse 2 of his classic work, Yoga Sutras. Yoga is the restraint of mental activities. Sutra 3 takes this idea one step deeper within. Then awareness abides in its essential nature. When mental activities is restrained, the soul's faculty that witnesses thoughts naturally turns in on itself, remaining temporarily aware only of itself until thoughts again arise. Person is at that moment in his soul nature, which is, of course, the source of intuition. Second practice is needed: keen observation. Gurudeva explains, observation is the first faculty of the awakening of the superconscious regions. This observation is cultivated by abstinence from excessive talk. Unfortunately, excessive talk is a strong habit. Constant talk overloads the subconscious mind and is the source of unwanted thoughts that arise when we try to practice meditation. To avoid excessive talk, it is helpful to establish a weekly time of silence. For example, 1 hour every Sunday, during which talk completely ceases. For those who are retired, the period can be longer. The discipline of remaining silent is called mauna in Sanskrit. Fortunate individuals have a schedule that allows them to practice mauna for an entire day every week. Ardent seekers in India take vows of silence for months or longer. Paramaguru Yogaswami didn't experience AI, but he spoke of what I'm calling Adyatma Intelligence. He worked intuitively, responding to those who came according to inner orders. In explaining this process, he said, when you are pure, you live like water on a lotus leaf. Do what is necessary, what comes to you to do, then go on to the next order you receive, and then on to the next that comes. In this way, he prodded visitors to follow their intuition. He advised, boldly act when you receive orders from within. You need not wait until all details are in order. If you wait for everything to be worked out, you may miss your chance. Have faith and do the work that comes from within. Money will trail after you if you are responding to divine orders. Helpers will come. Everything will come. You have only to follow carefully that which comes from within. When asked how to find one's inner voice, he offered, Summa Iru. Be still, and what you need will come to you. Summa Iru was his constant command. He practiced this himself and heeded the instructions that came. Someone would ask him a question and he would wait for his orders. If he felt no orders, he would do nothing. Once a man drove up to Swami as he was walking through town and asked if he could take him anywhere. No orders, Swami replied and waved the man on. A few minutes later, the driver came by and stopped again. Now I have my orders, Swami said, and got into the car. Imagine that. Really very close with his inner voice. Gurudeva's and Yoga Swami's advice on how to find our intuition is the same. Gurudeva, practice mauna, abstain from excessive talk. Yoga Swami, be still, Summa Iru. Here are two useful techniques for tapping your intuition to solve a problem. The first is that if you find yourself unable to solve a problem and are thinking in circles about it without making any progress, take a break. Take a 15-minute walk. Come back and look at the problem again. Sometimes the answer will be immediately self-evident. Relaxing, taking the mind off the problem, allows your intuition to be known. Second, at night, just before sleep, write down the problem. Make sure your description is accurate and complete. Rewrite it until you have captured it fully. Go to sleep with the expectation that you will awaken with the intuitive insight that eluded you. The two types of knowledge, Anubhava Bodha and Buddhiyana, are distinct but complementary. Anubhava Bodha is using the soul's faculty of intuition. Buddhiyana is using the intellect's abilities such as memory, reason, logic, and observation. And a question to you, how are they complementary? The knowledge we acquire through the intellect can provide the basis for intuitive insight. In science, for example, mastering the existing knowledge in a field, such as quantum physics, can be the foundation for unfolding deeper insights into that field through intuition. In spirituality, studying Hindu texts, such as the Yoga Sutras, can be the inspiration for inner experience of the truths the texts are describing. For example, gaining inner knowledge and experience about your soul's inherent omnipresence. So I hope you like that. It's just kind of a fun thing, Adyatma Intelligence. It's good for coffee table discussions, tea discussions. AI is a hot topic. So you can bring up, well, Hinduism has its own innate form of AI. Well, what is that? Adyatma Intelligence. 64 character qualities from our workbook. Wisdom is the 64th and last character quality, so I'll have to find something new for next week. How would you define wisdom? The workbook gives this definition. Wisdom is holding an enlightened perspective. This is cultivated through living well, reading, reflecting deeply, talking to the wise, and accessing intuition. The opposite is foolishness. The spiritual intellect described herein is none other than wisdom, says Gurudeva, or a wise dome. Wise dome. Wisdom. Wisdom is the timely application of knowledge, not merely the opinions of others, but knowledge gained through deep observation. So we've got observation again. Next quote from Gurudeva: wisdom is the cumulative knowledge of the existing divine laws of reincarnation, karma, dharma, and the all-pervasiveness and sacredness of things blended together with the psyche, the very soul of the Hindu. And the last quote: wisdom, which is the timely application of knowledge, guides truthfulness for the adult. To attain wisdom, the adult must be conversant with the soul nature. Reflection: take a moment to identify a few ways in which you could improve in wisdom. And our third topic, we have a question sent into Hindu.org. There we go. How does one manage competitive natures in people? Returning kindness and love whilst maintaining firm energetic and physical boundaries, and ensuring one does not lose focus on one's own priorities. Are there, for example, any colors we can send them which will heal without direct in-person interaction? So sometimes in a competitive situation, you can't really address the competitiveness, the over-competitiveness directly. So one indirect way of influencing the situation is Gurudeva's practice of sending out colors that change the mind flow. Gurudeva gives this advice in Merging with Shiva. Now, perhaps most importantly, you must learn how to protect your emotional nature. Emotional nature is often the most vulnerable and easily influenced of all. You will have to admit that far too often you have been moved into action by your emotions rather than your intellect. To guard your emotions is to keep the instinctive nature harnessed under the firm reins of your intellect. Read that again, that's nicely said. To guard your emotions is to keep the instinctive nature harnessed under the firm reins of your intellect. So we need a strong intellect. Strong intellect's important, but it's not the end goal. The intellect needs to control the instincts, the emotions, and then the soul needs to control the intellect. And Shiva needs to influence the soul. So that's our hierarchy there. The colors used to harmonize and protect the emotional nature are light blue and violet. So those are the colors, light blue and violet. By flooding your aura with beautiful sky blue and vivid violet, you quiet your own lower emotions and feelings and become impervious to the negative feelings and moods of those around you. Visualizing these colors will also improve the condition of those around you. So it's doing two things. It's protecting you. You are impervious to the negative feelings and moods of those around you. That means you're protected. Plus, it influences them for the better. They would tend to be less competitive in their interactions. So, thank you very much.
โอ้